Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. We're continuing with the Cube series. You may have seen my draft, and once I've picked all those cards, I've now narrowed it down to a 60 card list. As you saw, I found this Greninja pretty early on in the draft and decided to build around him. Water Shuriken, I'm hoping, can give me a lot of value throughout the entire game. I have no Gust. Gust is a very premium resource in cube formats, and I believe it was only like Guzma and possibly maybe like Pokemon Catcher or something for Gust in the entire cube. So the way I'm going to try and access and influence my opponent's bench is by using the combination of Water Shuriken as much as possible with some sniping from Lapras, which can do a 20-20. Kyurem can do a 30-30 snipe, and also we have Cursed Shadow from Chandelure, which can also access the opponent's bench. So my entire thought process behind this build is going to be using big basic attackers. I have 5 big basics in here. I have those 2 water ones that I've already mentioned. We have 2 grass type like Beat Sticks, Tropius and Heracross, and I also have Kangaskhan. So the main idea is going to sit behind those, try and take early pressure prizes and just put damage across the board in the case of the water dudes, and hope that Chandelure and Greninja can either set things up for one-hit KOs or start taking multiple prizes on the back for their lower evolving stuff. The overall idea is that once I take out evolution Pokemon, I'm threatening their basics from ever hitting the board again, so it can really punish thick evolution line based builds. So I'm really hoping that this spread approach is going to be one that really does pay dividends. So I've got the Curse Shadow, I've got Water Shuriken, I've got these Snipes, and I've even got the little nice Gale Shuriken Frogadier. So fingers crossed this is going to work out for me. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. We're playing a 2-2-2 line of this Chandelure. The Curse Shadow is what I'm going to try and mainly use this guy for. I don't have him as an attacking presence at all. The only Psychic Energy I'm using is Mystery Energy because it's essentially a Floatstone on the Chandelure, so I can attach that, or I also drafted Floatstone. I can put either of those on the Chandelure itself, so I can move in and out of him between, my opponent taking knockouts and whatnot, and try and use that Curse Shadow as much as possible to set up knockouts, which is going to be nice. I also have the Draw Engine Chandelure, Sinister Selection. Once during a turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one into your hand, discard the other. This is a really, really nice ability. Really, really strong. It's Acrobike every single turn. We can attack with this one with our 1 Mystery Energy, and I am playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 supporters. So you never know, past friends could get reasonable. I think I'll basically never use this unless I'm in a very specific spot. But evolving up into him is beneficial for Heracross's damage output, whilst at the same time giving me draw power. And the draw Pokemon in the cube was very, very limited. So me getting a hand on Chandelure, Magnetic Draw, and Stellar Wish, I think I've got a good bunch of Pokemon that can draw me cards. So I'm hoping that the low maintenance of this deck, like the stage 2s, they can come slowly because they're not really attacking presences. They're all just additional damage or additional draw. I can basically sit with my big basics and hope that they see me through the early game while I build towards these stage 2s. That's the whole idea. The Greninja line, as mentioned, this is a really integral piece for making my damage really powerful between turns. I think recycling water energies is the big theme of the deck. You can see I have Super Rod and I have Energy Recycle System. I also have Lady, Viridian, as well as Pokénav, I guess, which can help. And I played 11 water, so I'm going to be stacking energies turn by turn onto these big attackers, whilst also hopefully having additional ones that I can use Water Shuriken on. I can imagine myself super rodding mostly just energies back, because if they get through 5 big basics, they've probably won the game already. So yeah, I can just see myself reloading energies with these guys. It makes me a little bit more confident in the 2 grass energy. It's a little bit cheeky from my end, but Heracross can only do good damage with Powerful Friends if I already have a stage 2 out, so I imagine at that point in the game I've probably drawn a reasonable amount of cards to get into that grass energy. Again, Viridian helps out a lot, Lady helps out, so I'm hoping I have good access to that. And Tropius is kind of better early game, finding a grass energy early is a pretty good high roll, so I can start using Return to start drawing up cards. I think Tropius is one of the weaker attackers I have in here, but again, he's just a 100 hit point sponge that I can just have in the active. Only a 1 retreat cost as well. And when I'm playing a Skateboard and Floatstone, that's actually really nice. So in terms of other supporting Pokemon, Kangaskhan's a great one because Fast Evolution helps me search the deck early and thin for getting my evolutions rolling. And Mega Punch is just good damage output. 80 for 3 is reasonable, especially when I have extra counters on top of that to push for one-hit KOs. I even have Fighting Fury Belt in here. That's 2 of the big tools I have. I think I did really, really well on the tools. Fury Belt, Baton, Skateboard, and Floatstone are like all very, very premium tool cards, and I'm really hoping to get the most out of those. A Fury Belt on like a Heracross is just going to be tearing through things. Fury Belt on Kiram or Kangaskhan, that's also going to be insane. I could get really, really good value out of that, especially if I'm using the Greninja in the back the whole time. A Skateboard combining with Jirachi is like, fingers crossed, maybe that could happen in a handful of games. I don't think I'll honestly be using Stellar Wish a whole bunch. I pretty much have it in here just to be like an extra optimal starter, and just like if I've got nothing else going on, but I just have like my random Nest Ball or something, or a Pokénav, I can just get into Stellar Wish and try and find a supporter card. So I'm not going to try and use him a whole bunch, because if I want to, like, between turns, most of the time I want to try and use Cursed Shadow, like, if I can. So it's like I'll either put a Skateboard on Jirachi, or I'll, like, Floatstone Chandelure and try and get that in-between turn kind of, like, value when my opponent takes knockouts. I've managed to get a sneaky little Electro line in here as well. Magnetic Draw, topping us up on cards. So the one thing I want to do is draw cards. We've got draw from Tropius. We've got draw from Electrode, Jirachi. Kangaskhan draws us cards. Well, it shoots us cards. Dunsparce is a great lead as well for the deck. Strike and Run, just getting our basics flowing, which is great. And then we have the early pressure water types. This is an amazing early pressure card. 120 hit points is colossal, and a 20/20 is just really, really powerful, especially when you can combine it with the snipes later that we have. Hydro Pump is also good damage. I play both Baton and Scramble Switch, so there's a lot of opportunity for me to like build up a big Hydro Pump for knockouts. So 100 for 3, like if there's 3 waters on this guy. So that's really, really powerful. Again, like Fury Belt him, Baton him, Scramble Switch into him. That's all great stuff. So Lapras is great. The Kiram's also nuts. High hit points, spread, and a one-hit KO option. Like, it's everything you need. Both these cards tick all the boxes, because they can be good early pressure, but they can also just detonate like any big basics that I face. And there are a good amount of big basics in the draft, so definitely worth noting. But essentially, the entire build around is all around this. You can have a quick look at the other cards that I have here. I have a decent amount of recovery. I have the Rod, and I have the Buddy Buddy. So if I need to recycle any Pokemon, I have good options to do so. I think I have a good amount of search. Dive Ball's obviously insane. Great Ball, Nest, and Net. Net Ball being an option. Oh, an additional option alongside Lady and Viridian that can get us into those grass energies, as well as getting into the Pokemon in the first place. Pokénav, surprisingly reasonable. It can synergize with Sinister Selection, which could be funny. It can synergize with Magnetic Draw as well. So there's some mini synergies going on here at the same time. You know, I play 20 Pokemon and 14 energies. So it has a high odds of just hitting and then rearranging those top cards, which is useful. I got a really good grasp of supporters. I think I drafted a lot of consistency ones. The sort of greedier ones, Alima can be hand disruption on my opponent's end if they are having a big hand size. I have Acerola as like a greedy option. Again, it's just nice with the high hit points that we have. Being able to Acerola out of the way is pretty awesome. And if my opponent's trying to do any spread shenanigans or status conditions, I think Acerola could be pretty beneficial there. Lady is like a really, really clutch draw 4. It's draw 4, but it's like drawing 120 damage sometimes, or it's just drawing your way into a big attacker like over a number of turns. So Lady is actually really insane when we're playing the 2 different types. Because of this card and Viridian alone, I was thinking of playing one basic Psychic, just so I had the option to use Eerie Glow, but I've gone against that. You may have noticed a few other cards that I didn't end up putting in the draft, in the deck that I did draft. Articuno's one. Articuno's a pretty interesting one, just because it has the Delta Plus. It could be, again, just one of these cards that I like Scramble Switch into or Baton onto, and then Tri-Edge gets me like some cheesy extra knockout prizes to accelerate like my advantage, I guess, and really be like a small key based deck. But I think it's kind of too random, and you need to rely on having a Baton or having a Scramble Switch, which they're both one-ofs. So I was like, this is kind of pretty slow compared to my other Beat Sticks. I think it's one of the weaker ones outside of like that high roll potential moment. So Articuno, like, it could have been a game winner for me, but I think in general my rush strategy is going to be more often a better answer than anything else. So that's why I've not gone for that. I had the option of cutting the grass stuff and going towards more psychic energies to add in, you know, an attacking presence for Chandelure, but also have Mimikyu. Mimikyu is, again, one of these nice packages where it can draw cards early, so it's a good consistency option. and Copycat can like deal with a big threat that the opponent's put down against you. So that was like one of the hardest decisions, to cut the Mimikyu from the deck and cut the Psychic Energies. But I think just 2 different energy... Well, we are playing 3 different energy types, but this is essentially like an attachment Floatstone is basically how I'm playing it. So I think trying to get the additional Psychic attackers in here is a little bit too cute. So we've gone away from that, playing a bunch of Water Energy, hoping that I don't get punished for this, just those 2 grass, and I hope that I can get them rolling. So yeah, that's a very, very interesting deck analysis from me. This is what we've drafted, and I'm really hoping I can take some Ws. I'm pretty scared about Magnezone. I think if you noticed my sort of like pre-draft strategy talk that I kind of had with myself, I was like, man, I really want to try and draft Magnezone if I can, but I saw none of it. So I imagine it's been either snapped up by 2 different people, or one person has got a whole bunch of Magnezones, and life's going to get scary. It's one of those 2 things. I'm not sure which, but I guess I'll just find out. We're doing a round robin, so I'll face everyone. So there's like Hydreigon, there's Victory Bell, there's Infernape, there's like Salazzle, Ariados, there's all sorts of stuff going on. There's Machamp, there's Evolutions about, so it's gonna be interesting to see what everyone drafted. There's like other Chandelures and other Greninjas if people wanted to go down that line. Like I'm playing stage 2s, but they're thin lines. I'm just picking them for exactly their abilities. But there are obviously like other attacking Greninjas. Oh, that's one that I didn't play actually. Let me show you. There was also another Greninja. There's the 20 spread to everything Greninja that I drafted. I thought about playing this like really a lot, just because you do 20 to your entire opponent's board, but I think most often it's just going to be less damage than getting out Greninja. So I just want to try and get this one out as quickly as possible and like ignore any other option. With the Chandelures, it's like I kind of don't mind whichever one comes first. I'll get value out of either. So like as I build the evolution chain, I don't mind whichever one sort of happens, but I definitely want to have this Greninja established, and evolving into this one, even though the spread is good, it's only good if I can get like my other Greninja out or the other Chandelure out, you know? So it's like I kind of just want to force this one as much as possible. I have the nice Gladion. I love drafting Gladion in Cube. He's like one of my favorite cards. Just to really help me out on these important one-ofs, you know, obviously the Ace spec, Greninja, a few of the big basics are important. Anything like Super Rod or one of these tool cards like Floatstone, Baton, those are crucial cards that I want to pick out. So Gladion's a really nice help in Cube when you have to play singletons, right? So yeah, I'm pretty excited to start drafting, and well, the drafting's done. I'm pretty excited to start playing games against people and see what other people have brought to the table. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting trial run. Some of the games will be on TCG, but not everyone has all the cards. Obviously, I'm blessed with a demo account, thankfully. But I'm hoping that a number of people will be able to make their stuff on PTCGO, and I can battle them there because it's, you know, more aesthetically pleasing and whatever. But TCG1 will be the other source of battles, so expect kind of like a mix of both. I'm going to be sort of like squeaking in these battle videos in between the new deck analysis and stuff. I'm going to be going on holiday like in a week and a half or something, so I'm going to have like a big backlog of a combination of new decks, like deck profiles, and also just cube stuff. So it's going to be a bit of both over the channel over the next few days and weeks, so hope you are all prepared for that. But yeah, that's the draft. Let me know what you guys think about the deck that I overall picked. How would you have tried to draft from his cube? Going into it, I wanted to go down Magnezone. I was like, I'm going to try and draft Magnezone and big lightning basics, but that didn't really transpire. It was pretty obvious that Chandelure and Greninja were both being like passed up a lot, and that meant that I could pick the best ones of the bunch, and cherry picking the strong ones I'm hoping is going to be good enough. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, and yeah, hope you're excited to see me battle out with this busted list. Cheers.